Wait no longer. Greatness has arrived. Welcome to the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players. I am your host, Joseph, and it is here on this very podcast where me and my best friend Kyle talk about the latest and greatest in PlayStation each and every Thursday. Please rate us 5 stars on iTunes. And with all that said, with all that out of the way, the greatest co-host, whoever is, whoever will be, Mr. Kyle Stevenson. How are you, Kyle?
Doing great, Joe. As good as I can be.
I just hit perfection with that intro.
Yeah, you did. You knocked it out of the park.
Honest to God.
It usually takes us 4 or 5 tries.
But this time,
you called your shot, and there it is.
And then, usually, I'm like, intros don't happen this perfect. I was like, I must have not hit record. I was hitting record. So I didn't even jinx myself. This is amazing. Kyle, we have a huge list of news, which is actually...
I'm sorry for the little, weird laugh I just did, but you saying a huge week. It's bonkers.
We have 11 pages of notes, and literally there's only 3 news stories.
It all came from one interview.
One interview. Shawn Layden. People complain about Sony not talking to the customers. We got an episode for you. But before we talk about Shawn Layden's lies about crossplay, before we talk about Shawn Layden talking nice about Nintendo and Xbox, before we talk about Shawn Layden talking about things, and then we got some Days Gone. Kyle, what have you been playing this week?
Well, okay. So, really quick, because there's a lot to get to.
Yes.
Played a little bit more Kingdom Hearts. I got to the Toy Story world.
Yep.
And I'm really souring on Kingdom Hearts 3.
Why?
It kind of lost its luster. The gameplay is getting super repetitive.
No.
And it's just not there. It's not what I was feeling in the Mount Olympus world.
Okay.
Which sucks because I love Toy Story. It's one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
But when I got there, it just kind of I don't know if it's the voice acting or just the repetitive gameplay nature of that world. Maybe if I get to another one, it'll change, but I'm not feeling it right now, which sucks.
Sometimes it happens. And JB, don't get upset. First and foremost,
please.
Jonathan Brown, we got him a PlayStation. I'm so happy about this. This is his first platinum.
Oh, that's awesome.
How amazing is that?
That's awesome.
If you don't know JB's the guy that has made our beautiful intro. He's amazing. I love you, JB. Awesome that he's got his first platinum, and it's a game he loves. I haven't stepped back into Kingdom Hearts. I've been too busy playing Apex Legends, too busy getting wins, too busy focusing on getting the platinum, and then Mr. Alex Van Aken, while I was playing with him, he notified me there is no platinum trophy to Apex Legends.
Ooh.
So why should I even 100% this game?
Because you love it. I can tell you love it. You have that sparkle in your eye, Joe.
Don't tell Fortnite. But I really like this game, man. I've gotten about, I believe around, a baker's dozen of Battle Royale, champions so far. I've become the champion about a baker's dozen times. So, about 13, 14, I think, around there. It's so fun, Kyle.
And I gotta tell you, Joe.
Yeah.
Seeing all my friends and everyone online on Twitter and on Facebook playing Apex Legends, I'm getting the itch. I want to try it. But I'm so afraid that I'm going to suck so bad.
I suck. We all suck. It's fine. We're always going to lose. It looks like a lot of fun.
So maybe one of these days I will hop in.
But there is a game we have been playing, Kyle.
Oh, yeah. We played this weekend.
We played the Division beta.
Yes, we did.
Since we have so much to talk about, where do you come down on this game? What are the 3 things you like? What are the 3 things you don't?
Okay. I love the setting in DC. From what I remember from Division 1, that was very much dark and gloomy at all times. This one seemed like it had a lot more color to it. I love the way the guns feel. The moment I got it was like a hunting rifle of some sort.
Yeah.
Well, we were playing, it was just a one-shot thing. I couldn't hold it down. It wasn't burst fire or anything. I had to hit the button every time I wanted to shoot. It felt real good. I was picking people off pretty easily.
There's, a science to, when the guns shoot. You have a good feeling game when the recoil, it feels like it has impact. The controller gives you that oomph.
Yeah,
and then you feel it in the sound. That popping nature is just so rewarding. What's another thing you like?
And it's kind of weird because we both said it while we were playing. It is just more Division. But I love the guns. I love the environment. The new the new abilities, like the new secondary grenade things,
Yes.
are super cool.
You have a Sphero mine that tracks people, blows them up.
What I had. It was like a seeker mine. You throw it, and it automatically goes to the nearest enemy.
Yep.
And then as soon as it gets close, it blows them up. Or like if they're too far away, or if someone kills that person before it gets to it,
it'll find another target.
It roams around and find the next target, which is super cool.
I had this drone, which wasn't that useful. It was kind of like it does like an aerial bombardment that you can control where it drops the bombs at. I was not good at that thing whatsoever, but I have to say, like, it is more Division. Like that's what this game is. It's not a leap ahead of like its competition. It's just more Division. It feels like, to me, like, it's weird because I come down on this game a little harshly. I don't feel like I'm giving it enough credit because I love the first Division so much. But playing this game, I'm like, it's just more Division. And that's fine. It felt like more of an expansion pack, more than an actual sequel. And that's why, like, to me, as much as I did love the gameplay aspects, there are some things I can't look past. Like, the textures look really blotchy. The pop-in is astounding at times. And I understand it's an older build of a game that's a month away. So we're probably looking at a build that's maybe like 2 or 3 months old. But man, there was a lot of texture pop-in. There's a lot of weird glitches when it comes to people holding guns, people's faces not loading in correctly. The children look sickly.
Is see-through.
Yes,
like you can see right through their hair.
It was really weird. So I need to go try it again when it has the public beta in, I believe they said sometime in the beginning of March. I'm gonna give it another go because I like the promise of the end game. I love the gameplay, but to me, there's just so many games coming out. So Bohotep writes in, and yes, we're doing a question right off the bat. He asks us via Discord, I have a question for this week's Trophy Room. Since both of you and Kyle have had an opportunity to play both Anthem and the Division 2 betas, if you could only choose one to play, which one would you choose and why? I feel like for me, the Division might be, and I'm guessing your game, the Division might be more up your alley because I feel like it's more soloable. You could play it alone. As where Anthem, it feels like it is trying to force you to play with other people. Am I getting that right?
You are hitting it nail on the head. Yes.
Yeah. What do you think? What game do you think I like more?
I think it's Anthem. For sure.
It's not even close to me.
No. Yeah. I knew that for you. And that's not me saying like I'm down on Anthem. I think Anthem is super cool, but it's like I need to have time to play with people, and I feel like during that Anthem demo, it really forced me into seeing it as a way to play with other people. Like me playing that mission solo was super difficult. Running out of ammo constantly. I talked about it last week, and it was just really, really hard. And I could tell that was their way of, thank you. You could tell it was BioWare's way of saying, hey, you can do it this way, but the intended experience is with other people.
Yeah.
While as the Division, I played Division 1 solo, so I feel like I could do it the same thing here.
Yeah, for me, it also comes down the line of I love the storytelling more in Anthem. Like, the one thing, and I know it sounds so stupid, I can't get over the names of the enemies. Like, they're called the hyenas. One group, and I'm like, what is this? A Disney Channel rival basketball team? Like,
but shout out to that opening of the Division demo.
Oh,
when you going up into the White House.
Yes,
it's really cool.
And then you have like the Suns, and they're all patriotic. I'm like, oh, this is a Far Cry game. They all have themes. But yeah, like it's in modern day, and if I could take an enemy named the hyenas in a fantasy setting more than like a average like grounded, surreal game. I know it sounds stupid. It is stupid. It's a leap I can't get over. It's just me being dumb. But for me, I'll take a fantasy game over anything modern day. I've seen Washington D.C. And though this game's impressive, I'd rather see a city on Mars than Washington D.C. I'd rather see Azeroth than any other location on planet Earth. I want to kind of just lose myself. So that's why really Anthem takes it from me. But with that, Kyle, we got some invitations the other day.
We did. I was so grateful to get an invite.
Yeah.
Through Twitter. We got an evite. It's not an invite. It's evite.
Oh, sure. Ben Studios and Sony Interactive, they gave everybody this invite code to go watch Deacon and Sarah's wedding from Days Gone. This is kind of like the intro video, or I guess one of the final trailers before Days Gone comes out April 20th, I believe? 26th.
Yeah, 26th.
Bam, there you go. Kyle, would you like to read the first Google?
Absolutely.
Goober for
Days
us?
Gone gets a new emotional story trailer. This comes from DualShocker, so go give them a click. Oh, I'm sorry. Not news story. It's a goober. PlayStation has released a new story trailer for Ben Studios' open-world game, Days Gone. The trailer shows Deacon St. John revisiting the church where he married Sarah Whitaker and having flashbacks to their wedding day. The reminiscing is cut short when a gang of enemies follows Deacon to the church and ambushes him. The trailer bounces between the past and the present, with Deacon in the church remains. The enemies ride up on motorcycles too, clearly hunting for Deacon. Deacon doesn't seem to have any problem escaping the men inside and clearing out the ones outside the church, going so far as to use the sledgehammer on one of them. Question for you, Joe.
Yes.
Did this hype you up for Days Gone?
Dude, okay, this is the trailer they should have shown.
Yeah.
This is a trailer they should have shown at E3.
Yep.
This trailer looked awesome.
And I feel like this trailer should have been way further back than just 2 months before release.
Yeah, this trailer was legitimately got me pumped for this game. And we all feared that like Sony was kind of just letting this game go by the wayside. It didn't, premiere this game at E3. It was kind of during the in-between segments of the weird E3 show. And we haven't heard much about Ben Studios and Days Gone afterwards, other than a Game Informer interview and such. So with that, coming into this trailer, it's all gameplay. It's not like CG. It's not showing you more than what this game is. And from what I saw a broken man fighting with the struggle that is the loss of, we could presume, the loss of his wife. He's standing in the church where it's burned to the ground, and that's where he proposed, that's where he saw his vows. He said his vows to his wife. You see his friend sitting there, the only person in the church, like clapping for him. And then, you see this biker gang. And then you get this question of like, okay, so why does this biker gang hate him?
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, so it's not more than just these freakers and some other weird cultist-like people. There's also this other biker gang that's kind of still there. It made me wonder, okay, what's going on in this world? I want to know more about Deacon. I want to know what happened to his wife. I want to know what happened to that church. I want to know why this gang really hates him. And the action was pretty damn awesome. And I feel like some people deviated the way that they presented the gunplay, but it was straight up gunplay. And that was awesome. I digged it. And I'll be honest, I thought for a while that this game might be Sony's Crackdown, that this is going to be a game that kind of, Sony kind of pushes to the bottom and just kind of lets it go and lets it die. But no, I'm digging what I'm seeing. Yeah. I actually really have a lot of faith for this game. Yeah. What about you?
For me, like, I've always been high on Days Gone. Yeah. I love the look of it and the feel of the world that Ben Studios created. And sure, it does look a little Last of Us-y. Yeah. But is that a bad thing, though? Like, everyone keeps saying that. Is that a bad thing? 'Cause I love that type of world.
At this point, I don't see Last of Us that much anymore in this game.
Sure.
Especially from this trailer. It kind of gives me a Sons of Anarchy meets a Walking Dead vibe more than it gives me Last of Us vibes anymore. Mm-hmm. I think it's starting to distinguish itself away from Last of Us and making it something different. And I can't wait. I hope they're at PAX. I'll be at PAX. I'm pumped, man. I'm excited for this game.
Yeah, I am too. I can't wait.
Yeah. And Kyle, with that, let's get to our next news story. Our next goober. Okay, let me set the audience down. Let me sit you down. Let me tell you a tale before we go with this page-long quote from Shawn Layden. Shawn Layden sat down in what was, at least it appears to be, the longest interview I've ever seen with him in Cnet. So he sat down with Cnet to talk about the future of PlayStation, and overall, it's a huge interview where Shawn Layden lays down the path of the future of the platform. There's so much stuff here, so please give Cnet a click because they've done most of the work here. And with that, The CNET interviewer asked Shawn Layden for the reason why Sony's decision to pull out of E3 this year, and Shawn Layden said this. Kyle, take it away.
When we decided to take video games out of CES back in 1995 during the PlayStation 1 era, E3 served two constituencies, retailers and journalists. Retailers would come in, you'd see a guy come in and he'd say, I'm from Sears and I handle Hot Wheels, Barbie, VHS, and video games. So what are you about? There was a huge educational component. Then you had journalists who had magazines and lead time and jockeying for position on the cover. And there was no internet to speak of, so a trade show at that time of year for this nascent industry was exactly what we needed to do. So retail has really dropped off. And journalists now, with the internet and the fact that 24/7 there is game news, it's lost its impact around that. So the trade show became a trade show without a lot of trade activity. The world has changed, but E3 hasn't necessarily changed with it. And with our decision to do fewer games, bigger games, over longer periods of time, we got to a point where June of 2019 was not a time for us to have a new thing to say. And we feel like if we ring the bell and people show up here in force, people have expectation. Oh, they're going to tell us something. We are progressing the conversation about how do we transform E3 to be more relevant? Can E3 transition more into a fan festival of gaming where we don't gather there to drop the new bomb? Can it just be a celebration of games and have panels where we bring game developers closer to fans? When asked about the format, whether it be PSX or Nintendo Direct, Layden dodged the question.
So with that, Kyle, thank you. Beautiful. I would have stumbled around that 8 or 9 times at least. Right when it gets to nascent, I would have been like, nasal?
I'm pretty sure I said that word wrong, so thank you for that.
That's fine. With that, Kyle, this explanation makes a ton of sense to me. Like, when Sony announced this, we got really worried, and it's still a really risky move. Mm-hmm. But for me, I see where he's coming from, right? What are your thoughts on his explanation? Does it make more sense now why they're doing it? Do you still think it's a good idea?
So, as somebody who I've said this on the show before, when we heard that Sony was backing out of E3, I was bummed out.
Yeah.
Because E3 is one of my favorite times of year, and I love seeing what Sony does, and doing the E3 PlayStation Theater experience in the city is one of my favorite things to do. So when they pulled out, I was bummed, majorly bummed. But after hearing him say this, and why it can't just be a celebration of games and have fans come together to play games, it has me super excited.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what PSX was and is.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're not going to... Well, yeah. In the future, hopefully. Like, if they move what they do at E3 and make it into a PSX thing, yeah, I am 100% in for that, because what is a better audience for PlayStation at that time?
Yeah,
to
that's
get people who love PlayStation to go to your thing and then bring the news to them, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and I think that, like, what he's saying right there, I think this screams that they're going to have something that is in between of a Nintendo Direct style, where they have this, instead of, like, you see it at every E3, there's a technical glitch, someone stubs over a line or two, it gets a little awkward, you have that one guy in his mom's jean jacket talking about racing games, he has no idea what he's doing. You have those moments that kind of deviate from the point of E3. And for me, like, I love E3. Ever since it was televised as a kid, I would watch it. It is like, for me, it is Christmas, right? It is like a new Star Wars coming out. I freak out. We gush over it. Everybody does a stream. I get that a lot of eyes are on E3 as well. And this is a huge risk from Sony just to pull out and have everybody else have the limelight of E3. But to me, I don't see the point anymore. I love what he says. It has to be a celebration of games. And he's not saying they'll never come back. It's just they have to change it up a little bit. Because what I saw today, there was I don't know if you guys know this, okay, because this is a Sony club. Hail Sony, praise be to Shu. It was his birthday. Happy birthday, Shu.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Nintendo Direct just dropped. The first one this year. I watched it, and I watched it on the big TV, so I only saw how many people were watching from the pre-show, which is just a blank screen, people waiting to watch, not just jumping in when the action's happening. There was... On YouTube alone, I don't know if it was also on Twitch, YouTube alone, there was over 125,000 people watching in that moment for Nintendo to announce things. 35 minutes of pure gameplay. Next game. We're going to stop here. We're going to show you something big. Next game. Show you something huge at the very end. Show you another thing huge at the end. Bam, you're done. And everybody afterwards, this whole day has been leading up to this event. What are they going to show? The rumored games that are coming out, the hype that's around it, right? And then the aftermath of people, from what I've seen, has been a pretty positive experience over this Nintendo Direct. They have controlled the news cycle and it's only focused on them. That's what you want. And when I see E3, I see this conference where it's not all eyes on you. It's all eyes on you for a few hours, for sure, but you're not having a whole day, right? It's not all of a sudden where you have this shadow drop of an announcement, people get hyped for it, bam, all eyes on you. You're competing with Bethesda, EA, Ubisoft, Microsoft, Nintendo, Square Enix sometimes. Yeah. You have all these other companies vying for what you should get excited about, where there's some games that get lost in the shuffle because, all eyes are on something else. Mm-hmm. And with that, like, you have the conversations afterwards of not even were the games great, but who won? Yeah. Who lost? Who's biggest losers?
Away from the games and the experiences as to why we're gamers.
Yeah, and so with that, I see why they pulled away from E3, and you have to say they're not the first. Right? Like, other companies have pulled out. Activision, we could talk about them, have pulled out. Nintendo has pulled out in some capacity. Rockstar as well. There's several 2K. There's several companies that have pulled out of E3 because, there's no point for it anymore. It's an old thing, and I understand that sometimes we get scared over change as gamers. I was thinking about it on the car ride over. This industry, as much as I love it, is always kind of behind when it comes to tech. Like, we started streaming games. We started talking about streaming right now. Like, there's OnLive back in the mid-2000s. But, I mean, right now there's a huge push to streaming being the future. Whereas the movie industry, TV industry, it's been there for years as a prominent fixture. We just got to the point where digital is now the most prominent fixture in how you get your entertainment when it comes to video games. Movies, TV, it's been that way for years now. So I understand we don't like change, but I also feel like it's better for everyone if E3 does change. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's what I think. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just had a huge rant. I hope it was worth it.
No, it's fine.
With this, though, do you think it's going to be a mistake? Do you think this could blow back in their face? And, this could be a win for Microsoft or Nintendo. Do you think it's going to be that?
I do not think it's going to hinder them at all. The only way it will hinder them is if they come out and their first major, whether it's a Direct, whether it's PSX, and there's nothing of substance there. Okay. It's just there just to be there type of thing.
Then, Kyle, would you do me the honors and reading the next part? Will Sony leave... Sony will say it will leave no gamer behind, says there's life to local consoles just yet. This comes from Push Square. Same interview, by the way. And with that, let me set you the scene, Kyle, if I may. Me and Shawn Layden are best friends. We go by first name basis. That's why I'm just so comfortable calling him Shawn. He was brought up the possibility of streaming and new competitors like Apple, Google, Microsoft with their Project Cloud, and whether Sony feels like streaming is the future of gaming. Shawnee Boy had this to say, Kyle.
If you're PlayStation and you're available in 168 countries around the world, streaming will be a thing which will have interest to certain people in certain places. But still, for the vast majority of the gaming community, our 94 million PlayStation 4s out there, I think there's much life left in a local console. Layden reiterated that given the global appeal of PlayStation, it will always provide solutions for locations that simply don't have the infrastructure for streaming. If the PlayStation continues to grow at this rate, we could leave no gamer behind, he said. But streaming is something that PlayStation is active in, and we want to make sure we keep current in that technology.
Okay, and with that, there's been news, we'll talk about it just briefly here, that Sony Interactive Entertainment, has a new boss in Jim Ryan, who has taken over John Cadera's position, and John Cadera, it looks like, is back at the networking side of things when it comes to Sony. It looks like Sony is restructuring itself for the beginning of this next generation, and it looks like PSN is going to be a big part of it. What do you take by that quote? Do you think that the next PlayStation 5, this gives a huge light into what the next PS5 is, which is there is no streaming box, it is just a regular console that we know?
Yeah, I think that is kind of what it leads itself to be. That does make me a little excited.
Yeah.
Because I am a physical media person.
Yeah.
So that does make me happy that we are not being left behind. Especially because you talked about the direct before. I went to download the Tetris Battle Royale. It took me forever to download, and that's just a simple Tetris game. So,
Kyle, real talk. Yeah. When they announced that, I saw the logo and I just jokingly said to myself, I wish I had people in front of me. I was like, watch, this is a Tetris Battle Royale game. And I'm just like, I gave myself a little chuckle. And then when they're like 99 players, I was like, no, Tetris, no. It's like only one remain. I'm like, no, Tetris, go home. You're drunk.
Go ahead, Joe. Tell them what happened when we started this call.
I saw you playing this Tetris Battle Royale game.
Yeah, the call started with me playing in mid Battle Royale and Tetris, but that's whatever. But like a smaller game like that took me over 40 minutes to download.
Yeah,
and so I need to be able to get my games quicker and on a disc, so I don't wait forever. And I know that's like a first world problem. Oh, I gotta wait to play a game that I don't really need to play.
Yeah,
but like for me as a gamer, I want to play it as soon as possible.
My question for you:
my hard-earned money, I want it like now.
Was Tetris Battle Royale free?
Free if you have the Nintendo Online service. Yes.
Oh, okay. That's just why I was wondering. Yeah, my question. And I mean, it's not a first world problem per se. Well, it is, but like when it comes to gaming, it's something where you're not the only one. Anybody in a rural area does not have the capacity for streaming. And I like what he said here. Like we're in 168 countries.
Yeah.
Some of which are like in the Middle East, Eastern Europe, and they don't have the best internet access. Even here in the States, do not have the best internet. Our internet sucks. In a lot of places, there are some people in the South, in Tennessee, by God, look at who just came back to the party, by God. No. Like a June bug on a Sunday. By God, I tell you, I've been...
switched it up to insects? What happened?
By God, I like a good insect sandwich every now and again. I live in the bayou in Louisiana.
Fair.
I'm a crab fisherman. I grab them by the hand. And by the way, when it comes to online... they're still rocking, some of them still rocking DSL.
Yeah.
Right? Depending on where you go, it's just not that great. So when it comes to streaming, I think of, like San Francisco, New York City, right? Like the tri-state area where I'm from. You go out of the suburbs and you go into the more rural areas, their internet's not that great. Especially when it comes to streaming. So when I think of streaming platforms, they're not saying it's never happening. They're just saying, not right now. That's not a thing. And also, this whole quote of like your competitors, Apple, Google, Microsoft, these are huge names. Like Microsoft's been here, but like Apple and Google are coming in.
Yeah.
That's huge. And Sony doesn't say they're not, right? They just know like we're aware. And that's what's really interesting when we get into the future of this platform war. It's not just Sony. It's not just Microsoft. It's not just Nintendo anymore. It's Apple. It's Google. Who knows who else comes in and starts vying for power? Does Amazon try it again?
It's like the Anchorman scene where all the news stations come and battle.
Yeah. So like to me, this gets me hyped because yes, I don't like the idea of streaming because to me it's like the Pandora's box where everybody's gonna have a streaming service and it's kind of like what you have now. Everything's so segmented. If you want HBO, if you want Netflix and Hulu, it's like why might as well just pay for regular TV at that point. Yep. So for me, I don't like the idea of streaming, but it's also saying, hey, we're not kicking it to the curb. We understand it's a future. It's just not the future yet.
Yeah, it's just not there yet.
It's awesome.
This may be, like, if you want to really dive deep into it, maybe PS5 has two different versions type of thing. Two different
just like Scarlet?
Exactly. So it could be happening that way.
Well, my question for you, Kyle, do you think it's going to be like, if the rumors are correct, on the Xbox side, where it's a launch on the same day, like they're launching two pieces of hardware on the same day, one streaming, one not? Or do you think that streaming box is going to come later down the line for PlayStation and not on day one?
I feel like it should be day and date as the regular one.
Yeah.
So that way you give people the options if they want it either way. But who knows?
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's we need to have like the future of PlayStation episode, so we could get all this rumors and speculation. We could get all of it out of the way, because honestly, it's not interesting when we get our tinfoil hats on. I like it when it's months before you have a clear-ish idea of what it's going to be, rather than like, I want to make me toast while I play Apex. Like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, like something realistic. I like the realistic takes, not this like, it's going to be a hoverboard.
Yeah.
I saw a kid with a hoverboard in class the other day.
Oh, God.
And he's zipping and zoodotting. And I'm like, what's the matter with you?
Don't be that person, please.
Don't be that person. Nobody likes that person, okay? Jesus. Next goober on the list is Sony trying to shut down Crossplay. This comes from Game Informer. Kyle?
Yes, sir.
Take it away.
In an interview with Game Informer, Shawn Layden said, "All it takes is for publishers and developers who wish to permission it. As ever, just work with your PlayStation account manager, and they will walk you through the steps that we've learned through our partnership with Epic on how this works. I don't believe right now that there is any gating factor on that. I think they're open to make proposals, because the Fortnite thing worked pretty well. The problem is that developers say that they have been talking to Sony, and it's been shutting the discussions down. The latest studio to weigh in on the situation is Chucklefish, which recently released Wargroove with console crossplay across Xbox One, PC, and Nintendo Switch. Writing on Reset Era, the company's CEO Finn Bryce said that it had been in constant communication with the Japanese giant about adding the feature to the PS4 version of the strategy game to no avail. We've made many requests for crossplay, both through our account manager and directly with higher-ups, all the way up until release month," he wrote. We were told in no uncertain terms that it was not going to happen. From our side, we can literally toggle a switch and have it working. Of course, policy work might be more complicated for Sony. I just wanted to provide some balance on the issue and say that it certainly isn't a question of developers having not contacted their account managers or having dropped the ball. We were told no.
Sean Capri drives by shouting some hateful words at us. Via Discord.
He's just driving by. He's just constantly in his car.
Yeah, and he drives up. He's like, "Hi, it's me, Sean, like Connery, Capri like the pants." And "Hi, Mr. Badbit, first time, long time. Question for the show: why is your leader a liar?" And then he drives off. With that, Kyle,
yeah,
is my boy, my good friend Shawn Layden, of whom we're on a first name basis. Is Shawnee Boy lying to me?
Tough, Joe. I feel like he is.
Why? Why do you think he's lying to us? I mean, yeah, like Chucklefish comes out and says it's not as easy as Shawn Layden makes it out to be. Mm-hmm. Do you think they're trying to sweep up crossplay under the rug?
Potentially. This is a really tough situation on both sides, because maybe it's a thing where, like, Sean just doesn't know about it, which I find highly unlikely. And other people below him are the ones who are, like, really shutting it down from smaller teams. But then, if you look at it the other way, why is Chucklefish CEO, let me get his name again, Finn Bryce, why would he even come forward with this if it didn't happen? What does he have to gain for coming up with this?
I think this is Sony being dumb. Yeah. I honestly, God, this is the dumbest thing. And again, this is a PlayStation podcast, right? I've heard the most apologetic. I listen to other PlayStation podcasts, and I gotta say, it's amateur hour over there, okay? Because I hear the most apologetic people on this camp go, "It's not that bad. Shawn Layden's right. No one uses it." Like, there's a part in this quote that I find so ridiculous. It's like, well, actually, if you look at the metrics, not enough people actually use it to really give a damn, but we're still doing it. It's like, You don't have the numbers to back that up. You don't have.
Yeah.
You may have them. You're not showing them publicly to us to prove otherwise. So that's just hearsay, right?
Yeah.
In Judge Stevenson's courtroom, that'd be thrown out immediately.
100%.
And so when I think about this response, and I think about what Chucklefish has said, because during this weekend we had High Res Studio putting out a tweet, and a lot of other smaller developers calling out Sony, going, "It's not easy. We've been asking for crossplay. You're not doing it. We're ready. Break down the barrier. Break down these walls. Enough is enough." And Sony kind of go, no, it's pretty easy. Trust us, folks. And Chucklefish coming out with one of a really big indie hit so far, going, actually, no, we talked to you guys. Our game's not on PlayStation 4. We can now start to understand the reason why it's not on PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Because you won't let crossplay happen, which sucks because I have that game on my Switch. I'd rather play it on my PlayStation, but I bought it on my Switch because Sony, you won't get with the times. And I'm not going to sit here and be apologetic. It's not that bad when it's so stupid. This is something that we thought we've opened the floodgates to, right? Fortnite, biggest game. Rocket League, one of the biggest games out there. Now have crossplay. You would think more developers. You would think, like, he even says it in the quote. I'm sorry, but like it's been a success so far. So why won't you do it more?
And I think you just kind of ran into it there. Is you said Fortnite, one of the biggest things in pop culture going today. Rocket League, one of the biggest gaming services in the last 5 years, easily.
Yeah.
Those two you could do crossplay on. Why? Because they're huge. And they have a huge player fan base. And so Sony is saying people are already playing it. It's a given thing. These smaller things, I feel like on Sony's side, they're like, you need to prove to us that it's worth our time.
It's not even that to me, Kyle. And you could tell me I'm wrong if I am. I feel like they let Fortnite and Rocket League have it because they were the two most vocal about crossplay. So they have this beta, they bring them on, and then everybody shuts up and they're content. I think I talked about this a few weeks back about my fear of Sony with their crossplay strategy is that they're not doing it fast enough. They're not controlling the conversation. They're letting the conversation control them. And honestly, Shawn, it's either, I'm sorry, I'm not being apologetic here. It's either you don't know what's happening behind the scenes or you do know and you're complicit. So it's either you're ignorant or complicit. Which one are you?
Yeah.
It's not a good look.
No, you're 100% correct. And again, it kind of goes back to like Rocket League and Fortnite being vocal, and why it worked is because they already have a huge fan base installed there.
Yeah.
So of course those fans want it to happen. It's so stupid, and I hate this. It is elitist PlayStation PS3 era type of response again, and I don't like it.
Yeah. Adam Gumby writes in, and he via Twitter at PS Trophy Room. You should follow us sometime. We drop some pretty cool memes every now and again. He goes, do you think Sony needs to figure out this crossplay / progression, or do you think it doesn't matter that much and people are overreacting? I think that's what you're getting at, and I'll be. Oh, sorry.
I think that's
me.
You. Yeah.
I responded back. I go, I think what you get at, I'll put that on the show. Hey, Adam Gumby, I'll put that on the show. Do you think people are overreacting? Do you think that I don't think anybody's overreacting. I think this is dumb.
I don't think so too, because they made such a huge point that they were working on making crossplay a thing.
Yeah.
And then to find out that they are like, oh, it's easy. Just just do it.
Yeah.
And
it's not like a flip a switch, but it's fun. We've seen success out of Fortnite thing, and I'm like,
it's stupid, and I hate it. It makes me sad because it's like Sony top dog type of mentality.
I don't think it's even that. I just think it's Sony nervous. Like I was
but what
talking.
do they have to be nervous about, Joe?
Because
they're
Apple,
selling consoles like crazy
right now.
People are buying games
right now. Like my thing is, like we talked about it before, and I talked about it on the PlayStation Nintendo podcast with Bobby Pauls. You should check it out. Bobby talks about Toby taking Banana's whole.
Sure.
Yeah.
He also said we were trash, and I stopped listening immediately.
Fuck Bobby. You know what? Don't listen to the podcast.
No, okay, I love you, Bobby.
But we had a really good conversation where he said, yeah, this is ignorant Sony yet again. I'm like, this is not ignorant Sony. This is nervous Sony. When you think of Sony, you don't think of like their TVs, though I own them. I love them, right? They're doing okay in certain sectors. They're not making bank like the PlayStation sector makes Sony tons and tons of cash. So when Sony sees this one area they're doing really, really great in, and then they start hearing rumors of Apple and Google and other competitors coming into this race, competitors that have, look, Amazon, Apple, Google, they have infinite money. They could throw something at the wall and make it stick. Right? And Microsoft too. And that's why there's such a difficult foe to attack. There you go. I could say words. So when you see Sony right now going, well, we don't know, and kind of tongue-tied at the moment, I think it's because they're nervous. Because next generation is coming. Apple and Google are marching at the doorstops. They are making, this whole streaming thing a reality. And that makes PlayStation really nervous. So don't mistake their silence with elitism. To me, it's nervousness. And that gets me scared for Sony in the future. This news isn't good because they're reacting to it in a meek way when they should be meeting it dead on and controlling the conversation instead of letting Microsoft have it. They should be having this conversation. And they're not.
Get it together, Sony.
I'm sorry. Let me check my blood pressure.
Get it together, guys and ladies.
I'm alive. PlayStation exec Shawn, maybe liar Layden. Never underestimate the power of Nintendo. This comes from DICE and says the following.
During his DICE 2019 keynote speech, SIE Worldwide Studios chairman Shawn Layden discussed not only Sony's place in the gaming market, but how both Nintendo and Microsoft are working to improve the industry in various ways. In his Beyond Generations keynote, Layden said, the best-selling console of 2018 in the US was the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo took a massive risk when they brought this to the market. People thought Nintendo might one day be out of the hardware business. People would say things like, kids play games on mobile phones and tablets. Dedicated portable gaming is dead and gone. But as I've said before, never underestimate Nintendo. All of us are better for their efforts. Later in the speech, Layden discussed Microsoft's Xbox Adaptive Controller, which has allowed gamers with disabilities to play games tailored to their specific needs. It is our responsibility to continue to broaden the tent, to continue to ensure that everyone can play. All are welcome here, said Layden. We must keep striving to make games more accessible, as Xbox has done with its adaptive controller, and we have had the privilege to do with our software titles.
Okay. This is the Sony. This is the Sony we need. What I want from them.
Yes.
We need togetherness more than ever. We need the Sony that acknowledges their competition in meaningful ways. That does give them name drops and shout outs. Like, what they said about Nintendo is awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's like, yeah, no, we're better because Nintendo is here. We're better because Microsoft made the adaptive controller, which is, to me, out of all the things Microsoft has made, every single one. You could take Game Pass, Crackdown, I don't know. You could take Game Pass,
Connect.
Whatever. Connect. Who can forget the Connect? Right?
Who can?
Man, who could forget Star Wars Connect? Who could forget the Red Ring? Anyway, nonetheless, they're like the adaptive controller, which is maybe one of my favorite things that have come out this generation.
For sure.
It's so beautiful, and have to see them at the Super Bowl and have the best commercial I've ever seen ever.
100%.
Still gets me emotional just thinking about it. Is awesome. Seeing Sony come out and give credit to their competition. This is the Sony we want to see because it doesn't make you look smug. Doesn't make you look like an asshole. Makes you look cool. It makes you look humble. That's the Sony I want to see more of.
Yep.
This is awesome. Sony, keep doing this. But with that, he said, mobile games, they're not dead. Kyle.
Yeah.
Does this give you hope for a Vita 2?
Yeah.
It's dead, Kyle. It's dead.
I know it's dead. I know, Joe. I know it's dead. But come on, man.
Yeah.
I want it. Oh my god, I'm flustered just at the thought of a new Vita.
I feel you.
if the moment those words are said, it might not even be called the Vita 2.
Yeah.
I will
I
make
wouldn't.
sure I film myself because I will run. And I don't run. I will run out of this house.
Yeah.
I would be so excited.
Now, my next question, I think someone on the Discord asked this, and I forgot to put it in. That's what she said. Why would she say that? Anyway, do you see Sony make their own adaptive controller, or do you think they will, in the future, partner up with Microsoft and let the adaptive controller work on PlayStation products?
That would be really cool if they said, hey, Microsoft, we would love to have it be a one-all type of thing where you can use it no matter what. I think it's wise for Sony to make their own.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past them that they are making one of their own, because they are definitely letting other companies make their own controllers for PlayStation with Scuff and
the Astro controller that we have coming in.
So I feel like Sony is kind of releasing the reins on peripherals and accessories.
So do you think like a PowerA is going to make an accessible controller rather than PlayStation do
a
it?
Sony branded one?
Yeah.
I think if anything, Sony will have another company make one for them.
I wish that they did a forward stance like that.
I agree.
You know, and then even go one step farther and just go, hey, listen, Microsoft has one at every one of their stores. We're having one at every single Best Buy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're having one at every single GameStop, every Kmart. Kmart's still around? I don't know.
No.
Sorry, wait. Target.
There you go.
I was like, do we want people going to Walmart? No, Target. Like, every Target, you got one in aisle 7. Like, that's awesome. Treat it like something that we do see in other, like, game stores. That you shouldn't have to special order something because you have a disability. It should just be there. It's so awesome, Sony. Do it. It's beautiful.
Jeez.
The power of gaming. Kyle, what's the next story?
We kind of hit on this earlier. Do you still want to read this story?
You know what, Kyle? I'm ready for everything. Or anything, rather. Yeah.
All right. Well, then, PlayStation Europe veteran Jim Ryan is the new president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment. This comes from Push Square. He's best known for a wonky camera and a few greatly exaggerated quotes about backwards compatibility. But PlayStation Europe veteran Jim Ryan is the new president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, effective from April 1st. In response to the relentlessly fast-moving video game market, incumbent gaffer John Codera has decided to step down from his current role as representative director and deputy president. Effectively, Codera, who is always billed as a network maestro, will focus his efforts on the PlayStation Network, while Ryan will commandeer the rest of the business. Sony CEO Kenichiro Yoshida explained, I believe that this new structure, where Jim will manage SIE's overall organization and operations, and which will allow John to focus on the key mission to further develop PSN that has now grown into an immensely large platform with over 90 million monthly active users worldwide, will enable SIE to accelerate its innovation and evolution even further.
Jim Ryan just pulled a Robert California.
That's 2 Office references in this episode. I love it.
He drove up to John Codera's office, wherever that is, right? I don't know. I only know where Andrew House lives. And we'll get to that segment soon.
We'll get there, yeah.
And he convinced him to demote himself to deputy and let him run the business side, where Codera will run the network side of things. And my question to you, with the news stories that's going around with crossplay, Jim Ryan said about a year ago something pretty stupid, that they didn't want a crossplay to protect kids, right?
Yeah.
They wanted to, they didn't want kids to go outside other ecosystems. I don't know. It was stupid. It was exaggerative, and it was not progressive way of thinking, right? Mm-hmm. It's not putting your best foot forward. It's putting the foot right in the old mouth. Are you worried that Jim is now in control of the helm at Sony when it comes to crossplay?
I am, and it's not even just crossplay; it's the backwards compatibility as well, where he feels like that's a waste of time.
Right. There was another quote about that as well. I forgot.
Yeah. It worries me a little bit. It makes me wish Andrew House was still there.
Yeah.
It really does.
Want me to knock on his door, see if he's doing anything?
Next time you go there to pick up his mail, just try to sit down and have a chat with him. Like, hey, Andy.
He does not want to talk to me. That's the problem.
Well,
he very much does not want me near him.
You keep leaving holes around his house, but that's a segment in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's,
to me,
it worries me.
Yeah, I think Jim is a good soldier. I am a little worried because he said some stupid shit. But when
again, going back to an Office reference.
Yeah.
This is like Dwight running the Office.
Ooh, boy, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
It's pretty close.
It's kind of like Andy. It's not going to be the same.
Better comparison, yeah.
But here's my thing. We give Jim a lot of shit, but he is good at running a business. And I think if the evidence is there to push Sony in one direction or the other, he's going to make those executive decisions. And seeing, like, a lot of articles make reference to, and it is no joke, Jim Ryan has made PlayStation so dominant in Europe, it's ridiculous. Sony's dominance in Europe and then grown over to Britain, where Xbox had huge ground, and now they're starting to make up ground in Europe. But Sony has this stronghold in Europe that, yeah, Jim Ryan, we have to give him credit. He did that. So if he focuses on, hey, let me just run the business, you run the network, John. And if John goes to Jim and goes, hey, listen, Crossplay is not affecting our bottom line. People really want this. Our network could support it. Here's what we need to do to make our platform relevant in the next few years. I feel like he's going to do that.
I hope so.
I just don't think he's good at talking in front of a camera, which someone like Phil Spencer is good at.
Yeah.
But I think you can use someone like Shuhei Yoshida. Happy birthday, Shu. Happy birthday to Shu. That's a new segment. Happy birthday to Shu. Anyway, like Shu or like Shawn Layden is. Yeah. Shawn Layden's very prolific, right? You can have the PlayStation blog run out and tell your fans what you want them to say. Yeah. So for me, it's easy to think doom and gloom. I'm not going to think of it that way. Mm-hmm. I think this is good news because they're readying for the PlayStation 5. I think backwards compatibility is safe. You see the patents there.
Yeah.
Things are happening. So keep the faith.
Yeah.
Have faith in me. Kyle, the next story is a sad one.
Oh boy.
Go for it.
This one sucks. Activision Blizzard lays off hundreds of employees. This particular article comes from Kotaku. Publisher Activision Blizzard has begun its long-rumored layoff process, informing employees this afternoon that it will be cutting staff. On an earnings call this afternoon, the company said that it would be eliminating 8% of its staff. In 2018, Activision Blizzard had roughly 9,600 employees, which would mean nearly 800 people are now out of work. This afternoon, the mega publisher began notifying those who were being laid off across its various organizations, which include Activision, Blizzard, and King. On the earnings call, Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick told investors that the company had once again achieved record results in 2018. But that the company would be consolidating and restructuring because of missed expectations for 2018 and lowered expectations for 2019. The company said it would be cutting mainly non-game development departments and bolstering its development staff for franchises like Call of Duty and Diablo. Meanwhile, in a press release to investors this afternoon, Activision CEO Bobby Kotick wrote, "While our financial results for 2018 were the best in our history, we didn't realize our full potential. To help us reach our full potential, we have made a number of important leadership changes. These changes should enable us to achieve the many opportunities our industry affords us, especially with our powerful own franchises, our strong commercial capabilities, our direct digital connections to hundreds of millions of players, and our extraordinarily talented employees."
Fuck you, Activision.
Yes. Fuck you, Activision.
Here's where we start the segment we always do on the Trophy Room when I remember it, and today is a great time to remember it. That's Trophy Room shout out. There are so many people affected. Usually we give shout outs to developers who we just want to share the love of video games with. Yep. We want to thank them. There are so many people out of jobs right now. Yep. If you know places that are hiring, if you know developers who are out of work, please give them a shout out. If they have links to their bios or profiles or whatever the case may be, highlight these people. They need your help. Tell them how much you care. Tell them how much they mean to you. Thank them for all the good work that they've done and they're going to continue to do. This decision by Activision is one of the most greedy fucking decisions I've ever seen a company do.
Yeah.
You have posted record numbers and you lay off 800 people.
Especially because it was not in this article, but also their new CFO took a $15 million bonus.
Of fucking course they do. Yeah, that was a few weeks ago. They gave him a $15 million bonus.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was Blizzard's new CFO, I think. But either way, like...
And here's the deal, right? Like, I was doing a little bit more info on this. Bobby Kotick in 2017 got how much money a year? $29 million from his job. Mm-hmm. If your company is in a direction that is not going that well, which obviously, though you're posting record profits, it can't be if you just fired almost a tenth of your freaking workforce. If your direction is piss poor, there has to be repercussions on your end too. Like Nintendo with Iwata when he was alive, rest your soul Iwata, is that he took a 50% cut of his pay because Nintendo was not in the right direction. And to show that he was willing to sacrifice, he's like, until things are fixed, until things work again, I'm taking a 50% pay cut. Because my honor and my integrity, my love of this this company should come first than my financial well-being. Instead of Bobby taking a pay cut so that maybe he doesn't have to lay off as many people, maybe he could give them better severance packages, maybe instead they're going to probably give themselves a bonus at the end of the year.
Yep.
Right? There's no pay rate. You just said it a few weeks ago. Someone got some fuckface who's eating caviar and shrimp cocktails while he orders some Lithuanian prostitutes. He got a $15 million raise. Yeah. While so many hundreds of people had to explain to their loved ones why they're going to need a loan from their their mom and pop.
And this is nothing new from what I know from Activision.
Yeah.
I believe I was reading the story today. I can't think of where I found it, but basically it was a now former employee of Activision, or excuse me, of Blizzard.
Yeah.
And when Activision and them merged, what they talked about was how, as a bonus, like, hey, welcome to Activision type of thing, they gave everyone free copies of Guitar Hero Aerosmith on the Wii. That was their way of like, hey, welcome to Activision type of thing. And it just, the detail of that employee and how shitty the relationship is with Activision and the way they kind of treat their employees, it's hurtful. My heart goes out to everyone who lost their job. Like Joe said, if you see somebody on Twitter or any social media that just lost their job, show them some love, retweet their resumes, because I see them all the time. Also, if you see other companies say, hey, we're hiring, retweet it as well. Yeah. The more it gets out there, the better it is.
Naughty Dog did it. I think Insomniac also did it. There's so many companies out there doing it.
Because they're talented people.
They're talented.
They're 100% talented people. And
yeah. And Adam Gumby claps back on Twitter via PS Trophy Room and says, with Activision Blizzard reports over the past few weeks, is it a huge deal or to freak out about this, or is it not as big of a problem as people think? I think it's all right to be upset. I'm upset. We know what it's like to be laid off. We say it every time when we hear layoffs. I think it is a problem that you see that this is something that goes beyond gaming. It also just goes behind the capitalistic way of thinking in this country. I'm feeling the burn right now. When it comes to these CEOs, you see them giving themselves millions upon millions of dollars in bonuses and whatnot, and in stock options, and you see layoffs like this. This is troubling. This is not how you run a business.
It'd be one thing if the business wasn't doing well.
Right.
And they needed, unfortunately, to cut some money somewhere.
Yeah.
But this was after a record-breaking year in earnings.
Yep.
And the fact that we heard how much these CFOs and CEOs are making and the bonuses they're taking, this could have been avoided. All that could have went back into the people that make that money possible for the higher ups.
To me, it also worries me about the future of the industry because maybe this is something to cushion the blow for something that's coming. Like they said, it was non-essential. Like I can't even say that. Like it was non-gaming divisions or whatnot, but maybe they see something in the future that they're preparing for the blowback. Maybe they are going to hit that ceiling of growth and start going back down. I don't know, but it goes to show that bullshit defense of we need loot boxes to help support the developers, help support the game. We need microtransactions. Look at Call of Duty. You have microtransactions. I believe you have loot boxes, and you have a battle pass, and the game made over $1 billion, and still that game's a disappointment. That's a problem.
And there is my question to you, Joe, and everyone who's listening. Yeah. At what point are expectations from these huge companies too high? Why are they setting expectations that are that high?
I think that's what we're starting to see right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like what's next? What is the next domino to drop? If this is a domino to drop, right? Like, is it Ubisoft? Is it EA? Like, I don't know. It worries me, though, and I feel for so many people that are out of a job because some dickhead's greed. Yep. And there's just no way around it. I am furious because at the end of the day, nothing's going to happen. Like, I see all these bullshit YouTubers, Kyle. Let me take the fucking gloves off here for a second. I see all these bullshit YouTubers out there. I don't even need to say their names. They're probably all of them out there. First thing they see this headline, they're like, oh my God, this is a good 5 to 10 minutes of me bashing Activision. Everybody's going to like it. Everybody's going to give me the likes and whatnot. The watch ratio is going to be up. I'm going to make at least $200 to $300 off this video. It's going to be dope. Right? They trash Activision, and then in 2 months, where Call of Duty has their next beta, after they just said, oh, we should boycott Activision's the devil, you're going to have their impression videos the next freaking week of, is Call of Duty good? Question mark. Pondering at the situation. Mm-hmm. Whoa, a surprised look at the thumbnail. Like, it's bullshit. And that is alligator's tears to a fucking T. And I fucking hate it. And that's why making YouTube videos is so frustrating, because you see so much fake outrage at so many certain things. Like last week, everybody's bashing EA. Now everybody's in love with Apex Legends. Oh, this is such a great launch. Like, bullshit. You were just bashing it 2 days ago because, oh, we're not getting a Titanfall 3. This is the worst thing ever. And now everybody's like, hey, Apex Legends is the best Battle Royale I've ever played. It's like, you can't win. You always have to be angry. But at the same exact time, you will bend the knee to these corporations one way or the other. Mm-hmm. Because you need that click. And that's the disgusting thing I'm seeing. Yeah. That's what has me so frustrated at the current landscape of gaming. It's gross. It's fucking gross. And I'm sorry I'm cursing so much. And little Timoff's son in the back is going to be like, Dad, what's this guy's deal?
I don't want to sit here and say, like, I've not been one of those people. Not as terms of, like, more of a public setting. But I've said multiple times, well, oh, no, I'm not going to buy this from them because I don't like what they're doing. And I end up doing it, which sucks. Yeah. It's something I need to get better at.
We all need to. But here's the thing, Kyle.
Yeah.
You boycott the next Activision game. Like Sekiro, I tried to look last night about if I could get it from PlayAsia, because From Software publishes their own games there and I don't have to give Activision a cent. I can't find it at PlayAsia without Activision's dumb logo there, right? And then GameStop's new policy, I have money down on Sekiro. I'm like, I only have GameStop credit if I want my money back? Bullcrap. So I'm like, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, because if you boycott these games, more people lose their job. And if you buy these games, you're saying, hey, Activision, you're doing great.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
It's a deal with the devil almost.
Yeah.
To the extreme.
It's because I love Warcraft, and now I'm looking at Warcraft Reforged, and I'm just like, do I?
Yeah.
Should I? Mm-hmm. What does... Blizzard is unrecognizable to me. Blizzard, they're also like, oh, it was stagnant. The game is always in the top 10 of Twitch every single day.
Yeah.
They need that game to be in constant growth mode, or else it's I don't even know. Kyle.
Yeah, Joe.
Next, let's talk about the drop before I get
Go ahead.
high blood pressure.
Let me hear the bassy undertones of your voice.
Kyle, prepare the drop. This is the drop where each and every week the latest and greatest in PlayStation games comes out in the PlayStation blog. They highlight all the latest and greatest games, but since there's so many, we can only pick one. My pick for the week, Hyper Jam. Why? Because it gave me that 80s cyberpunk-ish vibe, and I'm down with it. Here's the description of Hyper Jam. Hyper Jam is a neon-soaked arena brawler with dynamic perk drafting system that makes each match different from the last. Fusion with lethal weapons, stackable perks, furious combat, and a killer synth soundtrack will keep you coming back for more. I also think this is the third crossplay game amongst all platforms. If I'm not mistaken, someone yell at me if I'm wrong.
Very nice. It's a good pick.
There you go.
I love the style of that game, so yeah, that's a great pick.
Yeah.
My pick.
Yeah.
It's a bigger game.
Yeah.
It's Metro Exodus.
Metro Exodus.
Flee the shattered ruins of the Moscow Metro and embark on a continent-spanning journey across the post-apocalyptic Russian wilderness. Lose yourself in a sandbox survival experience and follow the thrilling storyline. So here's the thing. I have the first two games. I have played a very little bit about them, but I love the vibe.
Nice.
I love the world.
Nice.
I love how you have to manage your gas masks because you can't be outside for too long because it's toxic.
Yeah.
I just love that world. And this new game, when we saw it at E3, I think last year for the first time, looked gorgeous, and I can't wait. I can't wait to play this game.
All right. And with that, that's been the drop. Now for Andrew House's snail mail. Now listen, you could give us your questions at PS Trophy Room on Twitter. You can give us your questions. I ask every single Wednesday morning or noon. 4 questions for the Trophy Room. So you could go to the Casa de Bad Bit Discord. You could go to PS Trophy Room and tweet at us your questions that you want read on the show. Or you can mail to Andrew House, his address. I can't find it. He never gives me it. I always just stumble upon it every single week when I'm scouring for your questions. This week, I went to Andrew House's house because he's had a protective dome on it, so I can't just battle royale in there. I can't drink.
There's like a magic force field around his house now.
Something, yeah. It's Britain, so they got Hogwarts over there. That's how they describe it. Yeah. But now he's built a moat with alligators in it. So what I had to do this week, instead of drilling holes because of the moat and because of the alligators, I had to, and then he has like this heat sensor cameras. He does not want me to get into his house or his mail. So what I do, I go into the bayou. Listen here, Boggle, listen here. And because the bayou, I got to wrestle an alligator or two. And because I got to be more mobile, I got to take my pants off. All right?
Okay.
So I got my baby maker and my gravy maker out there, out in the wild right there, and I'm Donald Ducking it. I'm kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So sorry.
I'm kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger in The Predator. I just lather myself in mud. And then I climb the walls so that the heat sensors can't see me. And I go up to the mail, and all of a sudden, bam, Andrew House grabs my arm. We have about a good karate sesh, like Matrix style.
Sure.
Of course, he gets me to the ground, but it's like kind of like his face is where everything is, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So he gets kind of grossed out, and that's where I put him in a sleeper. I go, you almost had me this time, you son of a bitch. You almost had me. You'll never get me. You'll never get me. And then I take the mail, and now this week we got a couple. Again, you could just PS Trophy Room. You could just
really quick.
Yeah.
While you were describing that, Joe, have you ever seen the movie Despicable Me?
Never in my life.
Okay, that reminded me. And shout out to everyone who
does he also Donald Duck it?
No, but it reminded me. There's a scene in that movie, the first one, where Gru, voiced by Steve Carell, is trying to get into the villain's house, and the villain has all these crazy, like, defense mechanisms, like rockets and like an alligator. I'm pretty sure is part of it. I was just imagining you as Gru trying to get to Andy House's house like that, and now I can just that's what I see.
There you go. I hope you pictured me pantless like everybody else did in their car.
I specifically blacked that out.
Well, everything was hanging down low.
Oh,
Swing low, sweet chariots. Marcus O'Neill writes in. By all accounts, 2019 has been off to a pretty good start for gaming. RE2, KH3, Apex Legends, Dream Beta, etc. It feels like something is meeting/exceeding expectations. I'm curious what you guys think is likely to be some of the biggest disappointments in gaming this year.
I think that's kind of an interesting question.
I'm going to attack you for a second, Kyle.
You're going to attack me?
Yeah, I'm going to attack you.
All right, attack me.
I mean, we can't say Crackdown 3 because we're not an Xbox show, but Crackdown 3.
Sure.
Just a troll glory. He's the only guy that likes it. But first off, Crackdown 3 is my Aladdin. I liked what I saw in that Aladdin trailer.
Okay.
All right. I get it. He's not Robin Williams. Y'all need to get over it. What did you want to see? What did you want to see?
Yep.
But I think Metro Exodus is going to bomb. I think it's gonna
bomb?
fall flat. Because I remember listening to a lot of outlets going like when they played the game, it was glitchy, it was buggy, and from a lot of people, like from some people, I want to say a lot, they weren't overly impressed with the game. I think that's the first game that's going to stumble. Also, the messaging this year of the game being on the Epic Store and whatnot, that whole controversy, the way they worded it, it did not help that game whatsoever.
Okay.
So yeah, that's
I guess I can kind of understand that, but I've played some glitchy games where I still love. I feel like glitchy games aren't necessarily mean it's a bad game. Type of thing.
Okay.
I think that stuff can be patched.
Okay.
For me,
what do you think?
It's kind of weird. I don't think of any game in particular, but knowing how wide open the year is, and there's not really much of a PlayStation presence after April, I'm thinking maybe this fall is going to be kind of disappointing.
Okay.
Because we don't know what's coming up. And there's no PlayStation at E3. There's nothing like, you know... Right now, what am I going to look forward to ask Santa for?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's not much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't want to say Days Gone because I really think that's going to be great.
Okay.
But I can see other people say Days Gone could be a major disappointment.
All right. And I met one of the most famous Seamus I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
He writes in via Discord. He says, since it's Valentine's Day tomorrow, as I'm typing this, who do you think is the best video game couples?
Good question.
Let me see.
Can
Let
I
me
go
look
first
around.
so you don't steal it from me?
Yes.
Okay. It's Elena and Nathan Drake. They have such a great relationship.
Yeah.
And you see it grow from each game. They are relationship goals as far as I'm concerned in video games.
This is a good one. I mean, a cop-out one would be Spider-Man, Mary Jane. But he's a comic book character. Sure. I don't know if many people know that. He's from a comic book. Many issues.
I can think of a lot of other ones.
I would say Mario and Peach, but they're like on and off. It's like
that's a weird relationship.
Honestly, yeah, that's more dysfunctional. That's a bad relationship. You don't want to be anywhere near that.
I want to shout out my Shepard and Miranda from Mass Effect.
Oh my God, yes, the sexual chemistry.
100%.
You know, Jesus, Miranda. Whole lot of woman.
Cloud and Aerith from Final Fantasy VII.
Aerith? Is that it?
Oh, Aerith is like her official like Japanese one. I think they named it Aerith when she came over. Right. Titus and Yuna, Final Fantasy X.
I'm so sorry, I hit the mic. Yeah.
It's fine. I even like the Squall and Renoa relationship in 8, which is a great game. Joe After Work knows it. We agree. Final Fantasy VIII is a great Final Fantasy. Come at me.
You know what? I've never seen... I'm sorry, I haven't played the rest of Final Fantasy. Resident Evil 4. But Ada and Leon need to smush pronto. I'm feeling it. And I'm loving it. Because they are two attractive people. Yeah. And I want to watch. That's all I'm going to say. And also, you know what? Shout out to Mr. X, because he's just looking for love. He's wandering around the lonely corridors looking for someone to love him.
Did you see I don't know what version of the game is, but 2 Mr. X's showed up.
Yes.
As a glitch.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
That's terrifying.
That's literally the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. He follows me on Twitter. It's real scary. I just kind of want him to unfollow me.
Shout out to whoever made that, because that's genius.
Yeah, you're doing the Lord's work, but at the same exact time, please just unfollow me. With that said, guys, that has been the trophy room. But before we let you go, there's a Getting Fit with Bad Bit update. I lost a pound this week. So last week, I believe I said I was 347. Now I'm 346.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I weighed myself with some food still in my stomach, which you said not to do. You should kind of like weigh yourself first thing in the morning. So you know what? I'm liking it so far. I'm liking the progress. It doesn't have to be 5 pounds a week. It'll be hella dope, but that's not realistic. 1 pound, good enough for me.
I don't know if I said this, since we're in this segment. I don't know if I said it on the show last week, but I told you afterwards.
Yeah.
I am now like a month without soda.
You don't need
which is massive for me personally. And yeah, it feels good.
Yeah, man. I had, today? I ate pretty well today. I did. I've been making sure, well, my major thing is that I know I eat way too many carbs because I love sandwiches. That's my favorite thing.
I'm a cheese.
Oh, a good cheese is good. Yeah. For me, like, I'll make anything into a sandwich. Like, you give me bread, I'll make it into a sandwich. That's sometimes, like breakfast, I'll have a sandwich. Like, egg sandwich, whatever. Like, lunch, I'll have a sub or whatever.
Yep.
Dinner time, like, I'll have a burrito or whatever. It's a lot of carbs. So I was just like, you know what? I think it's just holding a lot of water within me because I feel really bloated. And also, it just can't be good. So I got to cut down. What I do now is I make sure I have at least 2 meals where they're not carb heavy. And one meal like where it's just completely, it's out of the picture. So like I'll always have like a salad I've started to do for lunch instead of like a sandwich. Because you don't need it. That's great. You know? And for breakfast, I always have eggs and turkey bacon.
Sweet turkey bacon's so good.
Dude, it's so good.
So good.
It's better than regular bacon, if you ask me. With that, Kyle, listen, we made it an hour and some change into what was, how many pages of notes? 11 pages.
Yeah. That was week.
That was nuts.
And this is an E3 level week without like game reveals.
Honestly, Shawn Layden, next time talk a little fucking less.
Or spread it out.
Yeah. Kyle, you got some things you want to plug before we go?
Absolutely. I'll plug myself like usual. WhoDatNinja73 on Twitter and on PSN. Send me those friend requests. My show, all about the kind of funny community, called Best Friends Talk Funny. You can find that on Twitter at BFS Talk Funny. I had an episode go up this past Monday with Emmett Watkins Jr. At EJ Sponge 61 on Twitter. Also, he writes for a website called Los Harrow Games. They're doing a fantasy PlayStation All-Star Battle Royales 2 roster, where 2 writers write who they want to go in, and then you vote for who wins that match, and then they make the roster that way. It's super great. Go check them out. And I record a new episode as you're listening this tomorrow with the one and only Snowbike Mike of the Kind of Funny community. It's the hype master himself. So right. I am so excited. I need to do extensive research and notes. Yes. I'm ready.
Okay, Kyle, I have a question for you. Because you say, guys, put questions down below on Twitter. I ask you right here. Camera's live. Sure. Let's get Snowbike Mike on the show. Because he's a positive force in gaming. Yes. He's so positive. He is such an awesome guy. And seriously, he seems like a sweetheart. I want him on the show. Though he plays on some other systems that we're not allowed to say legally, the Xbox. We don't care. We're all about that crossplay, whether Sony is or not. That's what we're all about. Love to have him on the show. That's my question for the week.
Sure. I'll write it down right now so I don't forget.
All right, good. With that said, with all that out of the way, everybody keep hunting and keep playing PlayStation.
Bye. Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah. Happy Valentine's Day. Hey, Kyle, will you be mine?
Oh, of course, Joe.
Yeah, hetero life mates for life.
Let's go kill some people in Apex Legends.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.